Alrighty. Okay. Take out your drafts for today. Also, open up your notebook into a place you can play around with language for a little bit. Didn't print it off, did you?
What?
Didn't print it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
My printer doesn't like working, so.
Get.
Oh.
Have you ever had a Canon series printer?
No.
Don't.
No. Sounds way too intense for my liking.
It's not. It's horrible.
All right, before we launch into doing a little peer review and things of that sort, we're just going to play around a little bit with voice and tone with a couple of activities, and then jump into that. But first, remember from yesterday, class, what does voice do to writing? What is the purpose of us paying attention to voice based on what we talked about yesterday?
So you can understand like the tone and the personality of the reader or the writer.
So personality of the writer is revealed through voice, engages the reader. How does voice reveal the personality of the writer?
Because you can sense if it's sarcastic, serious, funny or not.
How does voice engage the reader?
It makes it more interesting because
Why?
it gives some personality. It makes
Why is-
it more relatable.
Not robot.
Not robot-like. What else about voice?
It helps emphasize the point it's trying to make.
It helps emphasize the point it's trying to make.
Yeah, like it helps emphasize like the point you're making in the writing.
Okay. Is that a hand?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can use it to like fit the audience and purpose of it.
Probably one of the two most important things. You adjust your voice in order to fit the audience and the purpose of your writing. And then lastly, what things do you have to have under your tool belt in order to have good voice?
Knowledge, taste, and confidence.
Confidence,
Knowledge.
Individuality.
Knowledge.
knowledge,
Faith.
what? Creativity. So confidence in what you're writing about, because if you're not confident, you can't have your voice go through there at all. You need to have knowledge about your subject, because again, if you're not knowledgeable, you're just going to be worried about sounding stupid. So your voice will be the person who's the voice of somebody who's worried about sounding stupid. And creativity, knowing when to add dashes of personality or whatever for effect. So class, let's just kind of brainstorm here for a little bit. And there's a million different right answers to this question. What are different examples of voice/tone that could be included in writing? For example,
Sarcasm.
right.
Satire.
See what I did there? Satire. Okay. What else we got? Determined. Okay.
Ominous.
What's going with that?
Yes.
What else? Scared.
Angry.
Anger. What else?
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
Meek.
Passive.
Meek and passive are going to call the same thing.
Oh, I didn't know. what
Meek
that
is shy.
What?
Stubborn.
Stubborn. Okay.
Ignorant.
Ignorant. Yeah.
Arrogant.
A lot of bad things.
Yeah.
Happy.
All right. Try for the last little stretch of words here. Try to think about voices that you could anticipate yourself as wanting to infuse in your writing. So what I mean by that is like, I'd imagine you don't want to sound arrogant at times. You know, what would you want to sound like? What?
Exciting.
Human?
Humor.
Humor. All right. What else?
Excitement.
Excited. Okay.
Thorough.
Thorough. How about like right?
Yeah.
You want to sound like what you're saying is right and the way that things should be. One more. Put the cherry on the apple, not apple, banana split. Someone makes an apple split and be disgusting.
Delicious.
Delicious? Not very delicious.
Optimistic.
Optimistic. All right. So what I want you to do now, and you're just going to spend about like 4 minutes taking a crack at this. I want you to pick right now one of these tones, and I want you to write about your lunch using one of these and for this first round, let's just hang out here with this line. So anything that's wrapped up in black right here. So sarcasm, satire, determined, ominous, ignorant, or arrogant. So you're gonna write
unhappy one.
Yeah. So you're gonna write about your lunch, and you want to inject this voice into your writing about lunch. Don't say ever in this composition, I was determined when I walk into the lunchroom. You cannot use this word at all in your writing. However, when read, your writing should bleed this voice. Does that make sense? It's just a quick activity. Don't think too hard on it. Take 5 minutes. At 1:27, we'll come back and live the dream. Jet, is your hand up?
We're not turning it in, right?
No, this is going to be something that we just play around with in class. All right, one more minute. Try to bring your little narrative to an end. Okay, I'm going to model what you guys are going to do in a little bit. We have about 17, 18 people here. So after I get done, I'm going to want you to break up into groups of 3 or 4. When you get into your group of 3 or 4, I want you to share your narrative with each other. After I get done sharing, so let's pretend like Morgan was in my group. My group is going to try to put a finger on what voice I was going for. That's thing number 1. Thing number 2, what lines/words specifically helped enhance this voice? And then lastly, thing number 3, was it good or bad? Why or why not? So we're going to model that with the group here with Mr. Lindenberg's narrative. So you're going to pretend like you're all in my group right now. So here we go. What am I going for? And when you read it, try to read it dispassionately, because at the end of the day, it's going to be words on a page that carry us and not the tone of your voice. So read it like a normal person. Don't try to lace whatever it is you're saying with sarcasm or determination. Or did anyone shoot for ominous? No?
You can't say that.
That's okay. So fair enough. If you chose ominous, you're awesome. Brave choice. All right, here we go. As I walked into the teacher's lounge, of course, Mr. Olson was there, sitting at the head of the table like a king at the dais, holding court and sharing another of his engaging yarns about roping some animal or another. In the middle of his rambling, my fork plunged into my bowl and lifted 55 non-fat calories of orzo into my wanting mouth. And with each tasteless bite, I eagerly anticipated being hungry again in an hour.
Arrogant. Oh wait, my ass was
No, yeah.
Arrogant.
So what voice am I going for here?
Sarcasm.
Gotta say,
It could literally be sarcasm, satirical, or arrogant.
Yeah, I was kind of going with sarcasm/satire, and it comes off as arrogant too because I'm burning Mr. Olson as I get in there. Now, what specific words, phrases, lines are giving you that voice?
Like you're gonna be hungry in an hour.
Yeah,
That's
I'm looking forward to getting hungry in an hour. What else? You
Say
just throw it out there. We
say
don't,
of course earlier in the thing when you walk in, you're like, of course.
yeah, of course, Mr. Olson is sitting there like a king at the dais. What else?
52 non.
Sitting at the holding court, sharing another of his engaging yarns about roping some animal or another. What's going on there that leads to
seem to
sarcasm?
be very interested in what he has to say.
Yeah, I call it an engaging yarn, right? But what's conflicting with that in the writing?
Of course, he's sarcastic.
Some animal or another. So I say it's engaging, but I clearly demonstrate that I don't care in the very next line. And then we already talked about the food thing. So what I want you to do, quickly last one. So we talked about the voice. We pointed out what sentences, words helped create that voice. Now, pass judgment. Was it effective or ineffective? Why or why not? And it's okay to say that you didn't like it, because I'm a 33-year-old man. I can take it.
I liked it.
Why did you like it? What made it effective or ineffective?
It sounded funny, kind of. Like the sassiness of the sarcasm, I enjoyed it.
So you like so yeah, I did a good job of deploying my sass.
Yes.
Okay. While I come across as arrogant to some people, it was still entertaining.
Yeah.
It was entertaining there.
And did you resent me
No.
while I read
No.
this? No.
No.
It was
just sounded
it was
like you
it was
wanna eat
fun.
lunch.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right, so get together, group of 3 or 4. After you get together with your group of 3 or 4 and share, hold on. I want you to pick one that your group thinks is the best. If you want to read it, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, give it to me. We're going to share it with the class. A big part about this class, especially when we get into our papers, is peer review and peer revision. So you have to be comfortable sharing things with people. So we're just going to try to start inching towards that cliff right now. Got it? All right, go. This should take no longer than 10 minutes. So 142, come back.
We're good. We got a third.
I'll read it.
Was it supposed to be group three?
Yes. I was assuming if you would.
Okay, I told her.
Yeah.
It's not true. My parents left this morning, so I had the wonderful idea to pack my lunch bowl with fruit snacks and hot tamales. I didn't understand how people think
I love
of
peanut butter and jelly.
oh, either fruit snacks or bad food. It
So
is some, it's something tastes better. Obviously, you need to buy it.
Why, why not?
It was good. It was pretty obvious.
Because it's obviously sarcastic.
That's what I think.
I was going for arrogant or ignorant.
Probably arrogant too. Because I'm just.
Yeah. Well, I said like you something tastes good.
Yeah.
But I've never seen arrogant.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. We can even get some of them. I already agree.
We're the friends.
Slightly above average.
Oh,
Pretty sarcastic. Yeah.
that was.
You kind of laid into it with your
dry.
voice too. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was cut and dry sarcasm. Well, satire is like,
Sometimes you just
yeah, like the one with Ian Babies or whatever.
yeah, and also yeah, it has like
Yeah.
it's basically the same one that's made up. Baby's the best alternative for
It's sad, so it's yeah.
I don't know any of the other.
Yes. I strutted into the cafeteria. I'm a evil person, ladies know my name. Gazed down at the greasy tray of lukewarm chicken patties. They looked so average. Thanks, gals, I said as I strolled out of my with my subpar chicken patty. I could make a better second with my ass, I thought to myself. Reluctantly, and with a loud burp, I let a bunch of noise. That was amazing. Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
I want to read that. I want to read that.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
That's gonna be, you read that out loud, it's going on the internet.
I don't care.
It's go viral.
That's A1.
All right, as a group now, you should be picking which one was your best.
What was the rest of us?
Yeah, yeah, it's really yeah, I could have done better. That's a little embellished. I was just like, thanks, gals, as I walked away, but
Well, imagine if you did.
I could.
Thanks, gals.
That was good.
See you later. See you tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, they questioned me. I'm like, too many carbs there.
But Eric would be more like.
What is the person who's geographically closest to my favorite state will win? You all get
Catch
to
you on
pick
the
a
flip
state.
side.
Hold on, I gotta think of my favorite state. And I've thought of it. Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay.
My first
Minnesota.
Okay.
I was kidding.
I was thinking Maine, so New Hampshire wins.
Nice.
I've never been to Maine, but I feel like I'd like it. There's apparently a mountain, like on the shore of Maine, where the sun hits America first. Like it hits that, the sunbeams hit that mountain before any other part of the continental United States. And I'd like to go there someday. and have the sunshine on me first, just for you.
Are you gonna be like
I don't have a social media presence.
That was very deep.
I'm a deep guy. I got a lot of thoughts. All right, so is there any group whose winner does not want to read their own writing? All right, so we're just going to go around. I just want you to share these pieces, and then as a class, I just want you to sit back, enjoy them, be able to speak to what's going on in there that's enhancing the voice. What are certain lines, words, phrases that stick out and make things positive? Please read your composition as dispassionately as possible. Do not inject any personality in there because, again, the words should be doing that work for you. You don't get to read your stuff to people. People have to read your stuff. Let's start with the table in the middle, group in the middle.
Well, my lunch was absolutely amazing. I got in line, got food, and ate it. The fact that we got cantaloupe today made it twice as awesome. I sat by my one friend and didn't talk. Probably one of the most interesting lunches I'll ever have.
All right. Just me personally, I know cantaloupe sucks. So bringing up that as a thing you got, obviously, feeling some sarcasm. What else? No, wrong. Fake news, Georgia. Cantaloupe's terrible. What other things does Jet have going on in there that gives us?
One friend. Just
A little
His
ending,
one
little
friend
ending
and
statement
didn't
kind
talk.
of just solidified it,
Yeah,
Obviously the most interesting lunch ever.
Yeah, could you read the end just one more time, Mr. Bay?
Probably one of the most interesting lunches I will ever have.
Yeah. On the heels of eating cantaloupe and sitting next to his one friend. Delightful. Back table.
Great. Well, today I had an awesome lunch period, like probably the best I've ever had. I sat alone. All my friends were in class, so I was obviously looking very popular at the lunch table today. As people were walking by, they probably said, "Dang, that girl has a lot of friends." You know what? I do. It just doesn't look like it.
All right. So what's going on there that we like?
self-aware.
Yeah, very self-aware. What lines stuck out to you?
Dang, she has a lot of
Dang, she's that's what I said. They're probably thinking, dang, she's got a lot of friends. Yeah, well, I do. It was like looking all popular, sitting by herself. That was another good one. Couch.
My lunch was divine. I had a warm homemade biscuit bun on my chicken patty sandwich. There was in no way, shape, or form that this hardtack type bun was from a package or reheated a few times. It's not like the size difference between the diameter of the chicken patty was twice the size of the biscuit thing of a bun. Definitely a generous size, the way I was able to easily polish it off in 5 bites, especially the portions of the fruit and tater tots.
Your first sentence that you read, I was like, that's none of these. That sounds delightful. But then after that, I thought you did a nice job of shifting. Class, what are some things that you noticed in there?
Polish off in 5 bites. I like that.
Yeah. The size discrepancy of the buns as well. Mm-hmm. Good. Chairs. Or were you with them? Or do you used to pass? We're going to move on. Table up here.
Okay, I can. I strutted into the cafeteria. I'm a usual here, so lunch ladies know me by name. I gazed down at the greasy tray of lukewarm chicken patties. They looked so average. Thanks, gals, I said as I strolled out of the subpar chicken patty. I could make a better sandwich when I asked, I thought to myself. Reluctantly, I ate my sandwich, and with a loud burp, I let the lunchroom know that I was finished.
Can you read the last 2 sentences?
What?
I can make a sandwich with my...
My ass.
What's going on the internet? SHS worldwide.
Saying that Miss World Room.
I'm taking full advantage of her absence.
All right. What sort of things are sticking out to you there? Besides the A word.
He wrote it like a story.
Like a progressed.
Yeah. At the beginning, a middle, and my favorite part is, what is it? Hey, gals.
Thanks, gals.
Thanks, gals. Thanks, gals. On my way out there.
How he said he looked down at the tray and just got stirred out.
The lukewarm. What was it?
Lukewarm lukewarm chicken patties, greasy tray.
Greasy tray. I felt that there was an opportunity there to enhance the sarcasm by starting with like the succulent chicken patties, with to get that opposition.
I had the idea of like with my butt doing something, so that's why I was trying to get to that.
Just really wanted to get to the as you start, it's like, yeah, no, my butt's gonna do something. How do we get there? Here's the story we tell. Wonderful. All right, last one. Ms. Casperson.
Okay, I said Emma texted me 15 times last night to try and look over each other's work to revise it and whatever. But of course I left her unread. Even if I tried to revise hers, I would probably end up rewriting her whole story and I would have better things to do. Okay, it didn't even happen last night, so.
We missed the boat on lunch. But so you wrote about Emma texting you last night, right? And a lot of sarcasm directed towards Emma.
Yeah,
right?
she like hates me.
Yes. Well, I mean, naturally. What sort of things are going on in there that gives us that bite towards Emma? There's one line in particular I'm thinking.
I'd probably end up rewriting.
I'd probably end up rewriting the whole thing. That was a pleasant burn on Emma. All right. Last thing before we move on to your compositions. Using any of these other ones, with the exception of, I'm going to cross out right, I'm going to cross out thorough, just because I want you to be a little bit more interesting. This last one I want you to write again for 3 minutes, and this time I want you to try to make a point. A point in the sense of, like, you could argue that the Dolphins are the best football team in the history of time and space. You could argue that the time is running out on Penguins, and so we need to do whatever we can to save them. You could be arguing the point that Miss Spurl is a much more engaging teacher, and Mr. Nelson's time would be much more well spent in that setting. You have to make a point. So not telling the story, make a point, and make that point using this voice. So one of the ones other than the ones cased in black. We're good to go? Make a point using a voice other than the one in black. Your audiences, your classmates, have at it.
So it doesn't have to be about lunch.
You're correct. Yes. And the point you're making could be that Emma's a bad writer.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I feel discouraged.
You can share it anonymously, but there will be share. one more minute. Bring your point to a conclusion. All right, find a completely new group of 3 or 4. So you cannot be with any of the people who are in your current group. Same jam, read them, and then just pick your best one. Ready, set, go.
Any of the same people?
None of the same people, Miss Bro.
Okay.
You guys can't be.
Okay. Us 3?
Oh,
wait.
We got a new group member.
Yeah, my story is awesome. You need to get away. Okay, I'm actually proud of this, so.
Champion of our group.
I don't know, you guys have to judge it first. I think I kind of screwed up with going with 1, so. Sure, the Black Cubs had the worst season in over 10 years, but it could have been worse. Incredible situation. Owning 3 teams covering they can get through anything like this bad, especially more of a defense than to go over goaltending. That's the only person who is able to win any game for them to manage to get injured. I'm currently still excited. Like, with incoming stars like this, we get those hat-tricks this season. Not even Crosby did that. The offense only needs to get polished. The defense is in rebuild mode and in better shape than the Rangers currently. Just as long as the Blackhawks defeat Cleveland's 10-2 again, they can fight for
You're going to analyze that. There's optimism. I got a hints of sportscasters are generally optimistic about I can see optimism.
Has been genetically modified and is now excited without the beats or
I took a little turn, but I feel like it just really, if you think about it, and its essence, it's really one of those things. Right. You know, I think it's cool actually how we use it. She got to meet some challenges, maybe aware of my mistakes, but most importantly, she now, after a year of bitterness, I have come to the realization of the folly of being a man. Like, come on, just sitting there with a stupid face.
What is so fascinating about
You're the patriarch.
Checking out
So I feel like that could have been something.
Maybe a little bit.
Or you can give it
More,
to me now.
more just honesty
Honesty.
and factual.
Honestly and factual.
Right.
But yeah. All right, Jack.
All right. You guys not finished yet? Okay.
Jack.
All right. Hurry up.
Deny.
While I'm eating it.
I don't know. I think it's one of the more difficult ones. It's very easy to be stubborn or optimistic. It's easy to be aggressive too. I'm passive of that every day of my life.
Appreciated branch of extracurriculars.
I'm not scared though.
Sting.
Be hard to be scared.
Yet it's
Maybe
still-
you're scared.
Last one again?
What?
Like the loves of the beast. Or I'm scared of dragons, you know.
Even with the
You
middle
just-
one,
you guys are
force
gonna
things
stay
and
second.
God, we had a movie about the extinction beast.
I have something to share.
Ignore your,
What?
Idea. Well,
That first one was bad.
Yeah, but I just couldn't think of
When
I
you're
just had to
born,
go and up,
and
but
so
I
you're
guess-
impressed. The teacher can never read it.
This one was making a point.
I don't care. If you want to do mine, I'm just gonna have like similar to you.
Didn't write it
I
down.
don't think anybody could actually read
That's
mine
what I
and
did
it
the
sticks
last
out a
time.
lot.
He had us write sentences.
No, I don't wanna read
He talks
I
and
was
too
there.
long.
And we're just like
Come on.
this person
It's
who likes to kill puppies. And those puppies are not there to make people happier, so he's making people sad by default.
Honesty and factual opinion.
No, that's none of the
You're, and it was right, technically. If you were talking honestly.
Yeah, right. It was.
Form.
I can't read it.
Feel informed.
I feel like
You're off the rails, Hal.
A child, you're not a child, you're being.
All right,
Oh, no.
let's start up here.
Who are we reading? Oh gosh. Oh, and the first one.
If not, I'll.
You can do yours.
Okay, no,
Just my arm. I don't want to. Okay.
I was just trying to be nice. Mine, okay. Whatever. You know, I think Miss Coral truly helped me as a student. She guided me through the challenges, made me aware of my mistakes, and most importantly, she informed me of the inferior nature of my gender. After a year of bitterness, I have come to realize the folly of being a man. Like, come on, just me sitting there with that stupid male face. How disrespectful. Screw the patriarchy, am I right?
I told you that you
Yeah, I know, I
use
got it.
sarcasm.
It was my humor. It's
and people were laughing. All right. Yep. make sure Carolyn doesn't see this episode. All right. Another banger, Mr. Nelson. Back corner.
Okay. This year pumps me up with energy. I'm ready to get things done. It's thrilling to know that I can be on my own path to success and I don't need Katie to open the doorway out.
You didn't prove a point.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. This table.
Is volleyball more physically demanding than football, you ask? I think not. And you won't be able to change my mind on it, even if you think you're right, girl. Besides putting pads on and going outside in August for hours on end, really getting a break. That's right, you won't try it because you enjoy the air-conditioned gym and practices for only a few hours.
Who's
Um,
girl?
Aggressive.
Stubborn.
Yep. A lot of that voice dripping off of that one. Back table.
Right, I'm sorry. Okay. Flashback to about 3 years ago, my freshman year homecoming. The days leading up to the dance, all any of the girls could talk about at the lunch table is their dresses they bought and can't wait to show off on Saturday night. Everyone knows not to go and buy the dress that everyone else is gonna see when they first walk into Macy's or any other store. And I made sure to not do that when I was shopping. Around a week before the dance, one of my so-called friends, Britt, FaceTimed me to see the dress I was so excited and bought 3 days prior. I'm so excited to show her and bought 3 days prior. And then the next day, I was dumbfounded that she had unknowingly bought the same dress, just that was black and white instead of all black.
Mine was all black, honey. Yours was black and white.
Whatever.
And what was the point you're trying to prove?
Don't trust Britt.
Okay. All right.
I got it.
A lot of voice in there, which is good. Get that point in there more explicitly instead of just leaving us with Britt being a jerk. Last one.
So, dragons are real, guys. Sorry if you, don't believe me. I just really, think dragons were real, you know? So, sorry. You don't have to believe me, I guess. It's just facts. And, they're known in a lot of unrelated cultures. before they could communicate. So yeah, dragons, guys. Sorry if I was imposing. Just yeah, bye.
Which one was that? Yeah, that was a really good meek. That was a really good meek. All right, all of them really good. Dripping is the word I'm using. The voice is dripping off of the words in these brief little narratives that you constructed. And it's wonderful and it's engaging. And as a class, we listened to it and we laughed. You wrote about a personal experience when you wrote about lunch. You wrote about a point you were trying to prove. And with each of those purposes, your voice did a good job of engaging the reader. You had demonstrated a mastery of the subject, held our attention. It was tremendous. Okay, for tomorrow, this took a little longer than I expected. We're only here for another 10 minutes, right? Am I the only one? Okay.
Oh, geez, I was supposed to be at CIS like 10 minutes.
I mean, when you're having fun, on your way out the door, those of you that are leaving right now, grab one of these. We only have a 20-minute class period tomorrow. You need to come in tomorrow with this read. Okay, so this needs to be read and locked down when you come to class tomorrow. Also, those of you that are leaving, hey, listen while you're picking up. Those of you that are leaving, have someone else read your narrative. Share it with someone. The one you wrote a couple of days ago and revised for today. Let them give you any feedback that they want. Bring in a polished copy that you can staple to your rough drafts tomorrow, and you're going to turn that in. So this is read. You're handing in your narrative on your way in the door, and have a great rest of your class that you're going off to. So here they are. Read it, narratives, live dreams. All the assignments will be posted on Google Classroom. Read, have someone else read it, revise, have it printed.
True. How can I be so stupid?
Read that. Have someone read it, give you feedback on final revisions if you want for voice.
So like, did you do research for personal narratives?
Yeah, they're all.
Yes,
you can.
No.
Because I got really frustrated. Because again, I'm writing like, don't use charge
You could not.
The amount of times I almost get hit by cars.